Recording. Hello, today I am joined by the lovely Lesley Sands. Now, Lesley is the founder of the international art agency Pure Arts Group. So you're also a writer, a curator, and you are an ANLP coach. So multi-talented. I love talking to ladies like you, dynamic, energetic. So could you start, Lesley, just by telling us all a little bit about your passion and what drove you to set up the Pure Arts Group?
So that's a long story that I need to make short then, isn't it?
Well, long as you like, but I know it's your passion that drove you to start it
Yeah,
all up,
absolutely. And I think you have to be in your passion in order to be in alignment with yourself, in order to be successful and to have a happy life. You can be doing something, and I have done things outside of my passion many, many times in my life. And it doesn't mean I wasn't successful at them, because we can all be good at lots of things, but I wasn't happy. And I don't aim, my aspiration isn't to be happy every minute of every day, but I was spending a large percentage of the time unhappy, and that's not healthy. And it
balance,
wasn't
isn't it?
healthy.
Balance.
And that's kind of the reason, that's kind of the reason why I ended up where I am today, because I went on a journey when I was in that vast percentage of the time I was unhappy, not happy, or even content. Even though I was being amazingly successful, and everyone was saying you are going to be running the company, and I was like, yeah, but that's all well and good, but actually it's not making me feel, and even getting to the point of content, let alone out of this mire of unhappiness. I just felt constantly stressed all the time, and that led me on a journey of personal self-discovery, really. So I started to try, I think we all do this, don't we? You try and find a sticking plaster in the first instance, because you're like, I'm being successful, I'm making loads of money, which is what the world tells you is the definition of success. And I keep being promoted and everyone keeps telling me I'm great, but I feel miserable as sin and I keep being really unwell. What's this all about? And I didn't really understand it. I had a very good education, but it wasn't an education that showed me the nuances of our psychology, and it didn't go into how our brain works and everything. It was a very academic education. So I went on a journey of self-discovery, as I say, and I ended up doing what is now called Reiki, but at that time, because I've been around on this planet a little while. Well, it didn't have a label in those days. So it was called, I think when I first accessed it, relaxation therapy. And I did that, and I did a bit of research, and I asked lots of questions, because I'm a very curious person. I'm the person that you don't want to tell a joke to, because I'll challenge you. I remember my husband, when he wasn't my husband, telling me a joke, and I was like, well, hang on a minute, hang on a minute. Now that couldn't possibly be working. That doesn't work. And he's like, Lesley, it's a joke. Jokes don't have to work. I was like, oh no, but that person wouldn't have done that. And he's like, okay, we're not doing jokes anymore. That's not working. I am just an academic, really, at heart. And the more I got into the curiosity of why am I feeling like this, the more things kept popping up. In like, well, you could do that, and people would, unsolicited advice is always welcome. No, sometimes, but lots of people would give me advice like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, well, because people say I'm good at it. And I'm like, but you're really good at that as well, and you're very creative. And on this journey, I kind of got back in touch with my creative self. So when I was a child, I was taught, I had a private tutor for drawing from about the age of 5. I've asked my parents about this. I'm like, what was that all about? And because neither of them are arty. And my mum said, well, we would go on these holidays with this travel company, and they would always do things for the kids, apparently, on the bus, where it would be like draw a lion or something and have a competition on the coach while you were going on this, because we would go to Devon quite a lot. That was their thing.
You do, yeah.
And she said, and you kept winning the competitions. Just like, we'd be on this bus and you'd be drawing these, at 4, be drawing these amazing. So we found you a tutor. I was like, wow. And that just got lost in the depths of teenage years and boys. And you know, what you do when you're a teenager. I got into boys and music and bands and going to the pub and, you know, all that other stuff. And I completely forgot that I could draw and I was arty. So I kind of found that again. And I started getting into that community and I loved it. So I went back and did, I went back to Windsor Art School. I just walked in because, you know, this is me, Nadine, you know me.
Yes.
I just walked in. I was working at Coca-Cola. I was doing marketing and brand management and what have you. I just walked in and I said, I want to leave my job. And I want to do a course or a diploma or a degree or something in something arty. And I happened to bump into the ceramics tutor who was running the photography course. And she said to me, well, why don't you do photography? And I was like, okay, then. So I resigned from my really well-paid job.
Yeah.
And madness, really. But I did. I just walked in and said, I'm resigning. They went completely mental. Said, you can't. You can't. I was like, well, I am.
You stuck
I
to
am.
it.
I'm doing it.
You stuck to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaving. Took 3 months to escape. Kind of, they pulled the drawbridge up and they were trying to like incentivize me to stay, but I was like, no, this is, I just knew the universe was pushing me in that direction. So I did that. Yeah, there's lots of stuff that went on then. I ended up falling pregnant when I was told that I wasn't ever going to have children.
Yeah.
And during this period of time of unlocking everything, of just like putting it out there and just flipping my life, everything kind of like flipped on its head completely. And yeah, I won't bore you with all the nuances that went on in that bit, but I ended up opening an art gallery with a friend who I met, and that brought me into contact with lots of other artists, and they started asking me questions about, you know, how do I get my artwork shown? And, you know, you've gone from, you know, doing this course and then setting yourself up in business to opening a gallery to being, you know, I was fully booked all the time. I don't know how I thought I was going to run an art gallery as well. That was lunacy. But anyway, it was obviously part of the journey that was meant to happen. So I started listening. So, because I'm curious, someone might say nosy, Nadine. But I like to use the word curious. I like to use the word curious.
It's a bit of both, isn't it?
Yeah, I like to use the word curious, but others may call me nosy. So I liked listening to their stories, and I realized that so much of what I took for granted in the business world that I'd learned in that 10 years of working in the city and in marketing, they needed, but they'd never had exposure to it. So I started saying, well, you know, giving them little bits of like mentoring, I suppose you would have called it at that point. And then they started being successful too. And so they'd recommend me to their friends. I was like, hang on a minute, this is getting out of hand. So I don't have any qualifications in this. I was just doing it as a friend, you know, while I was doing my own work. So I realized that I needed to explore, because I'm someone who likes to do everything professionally. I realized I needed a bit more exploration. So I went back into the kind of academia, did a bit more of exploration about what I might need and what the opportunities were. So there I found myself on a master's degree course in international event management. Again, in the true manner of Lesley Sams, I just walked into Brighton Uni and asked to speak to someone. And this is a lesson in life. Unless you ask, the answer's no.
No, you're right. So right, yeah.
If you ask, it could say no. What have you lost? Or it could say, it could turn into a yes. So you have to be brave. You have to be brave.
Yes. Yeah.
And you have to step into your own future. Otherwise, it'll be going on there, but someone else will get it.
Yeah,
you know,
you're right.
the energy channel is going. It's whether you're going to jump in it or not.
So right.
And so I jumped into that energy channel, and I met this lady called Jane, who was amazing. And she was like, okay, I think you'd be brilliant. Do the course, but you're going to be, you know, I'm going to be generous to myself now, 10 years older than the average student, maybe a little bit more. Maybe she was just being kind. And if you cause disruption, how did she know me, Nadine? If you're disruptive, I'll make you leave. was like, well, it's never my intention to be disruptive, but she obviously saw that twinkle in my eye. And anyway, I loved it. And she, after a couple of months, she said, no, you're not disruptive. You're actually adding something to the experience of those that are on the course because of your background. So she was lovely. And I got my master's degree. And that introduced me to, as part of my dissertation, that introduced me to coaching and the difference between coaching and mentoring.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't even know there was a thing called coaching until I did this dissertation. So that opened me to that world. So I explored that and found some interesting stuff going on that journey, which then exposed me to DISC, which is about personality tendencies, and NLP, which is all about the power of language and how we speak to ourselves and how we listen to ourselves and how we and how you listen to others and getting in rapport. So I was like, wow, my bag is quite full now. Probably,
not hard,
and I was thinking to go on and do a PhD, but I'm still going to do it, but I'm parking it. It's parked for a bit because I do feel now I've got quite a lot of tools in my box and now I need to use them and get experience. And so that's kind of where my journey is now, is in that journey along the way I set up Pure, which is my business, Pure Arts Group, helping artists professionally develop and get to and release their potential. So we're on a collective, Pure is on a collective journey to release the full collective potential of the creative environment, however, wherever you fit in. And we're all creatives, so I pretty much cast quite a wide net.
Yeah.
But my artists they're not given always all the tools or all the support or all the help that they need along that way. And as I found out, you can live in pain quite a lot of the time with stuff going on that you're completely unaware of. So I just kind of like pull back the veil a bit. So I reveal stuff that some people may not be all that grateful for me revealing. But I believe in complete honesty, integrity, and transparency. Life is not a competition. There is enough out there for everyone. There is no scarcity. I hate this world of creating this scarcity. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a socialist, but I'm not an arch capitalist either. I'd like to think I'm somewhere in the middle. And I think if you allow people a bit of knowledge, I love that saying, and it's something that my son is at Battle Abbey School, and they use this as their kind of mantra, which is the more you learn, the more you grow. The more you grow, the further you go. And that's kind of the ethos behind Pure, is I reveal and create areas where everybody can learn, whether it's that they need to access it free through to they want the bespoke, 100% time with me service. We offer something right across that spectrum, because they'll start somewhere and start learning and growing, and then they'll be able to kind of get more and more bespoke service as they grow. So we're kind of a total service business. We all work with everyone. So that's kind of the journey. I went on a personal journey, and now I share all of that learning and all of that discovery with everyone else. But I do try and focus it on creatives, because they're my kind of spirit animal.
Yeah, they're the people you're drawn to help, aren't they? And I love that story. It's like you say, you're starting off with a personal journey, following your bliss, being brave, being determined, doing things your way, which is beautiful. But then that desire to share and to help others with everything you've learned. And I think that's just so beautiful, and a natural course, I think, don't you? It's that kind of, and I think from what you've described there, the universe is there to provide for you. But it is also, and sometimes, like you say, that's the pain we get. It's to tell us, isn't it? To lessons we need to learn, things we need to feel and hear. But actually, the universe always does as well throw a few curveballs in as well. So you had a few little hiccups on the way, but you overcame them. And it makes you tune in more, doesn't it, to what is your bliss and your joy and your path. And like you say, being strong and determined and brave and following it. Is
You
beautiful.
can't be strong and determined every day, though.
No, you're absolutely right. No, we can't.
And that was a synopsis of, 30 years.
Mm. Yeah,
and there were episodes of extreme pain in that time.
Yeah.
And extreme suffering, because I was my personality type is incredibly innovative. And so instead of looking at how I can adapt a situation, I'll always look to remake and make something new.
I think that sums you up.
Does this
quite
resonate with you?
I'm getting this. Yeah, I love it about you, and you're absolutely. I couldn't have explained it better, actually, but that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. So sometimes I'm on a track, and instead of where they just change the points slightly, and you just veer on. No, I'll literally crash the train, pick it up, mend the bits that are broken, and put it on another track.
Yes,
that can be quite a painful way to live your life, and not one that everyone can endure. And it has caused me extreme pain over the years. I have found myself, it can be dangerous because I'm a risk taker. So I will sometimes, I'm a risk analyst. Bizarre. I was a risk analyst, so I look at all the risks.
Yes, you're quite complex, aren't you?
Yeah, but even though I know all the risks, I'll still do it. I'll still go, right, well, I know that's highly risky, and that you could not only derail the train, there could be injuries. No loss of life, we're not going there, but there could be injuries, and they could be yours. Oh, well, we're doing it anyway, because if we don't do it, we're just going to stay on this track, which is mediocre at best. Don't want to stay on that track. So other people will just do a slight curve, and I really think that should be applauded.
Well, we are what we are, aren't we? But
that's not me.
Exactly. You are what you are, and you're brilliant.
Yeah. So I don't want people to think that bravery, I don't want people listening to this thinking that bravery was acquired painlessly. No, I have wounds.
Yeah.
I have war wounds that I've collected along that journey. And as much as they make me who I am today, and I'm grateful for them, it's not everybody's path to do that. And not everybody has that resilience. I happen to have that in my personality makeup. And Definitely. So sometimes it takes me a day to recover. Sometimes it takes a week. There have been a couple of episodes over that period, and people who listen to this who know me will know them, that have taken maybe a year of recovery before I've got back in the carriage. And then I've moved to the driver, and then I've taken over the train driving again.
Yeah, you'll always get back to it. Yeah.
Exactly. But I make sure I have lots of attendants on my train who care about me. And I think that's really important. Another really valuable thing I've learned is about having a group of people around you who you really trust, who you support unconditionally, and they support you unconditionally.
Yeah.
And I have that crew. I have my crew, and they all know who they are, and they've got my back, and I've got their back.
Yeah.
And you need that. It's your attendance on the train. You can have passengers on your train, and that's okay. But you need some attendance on your train as well to care for you.
Perfect. And you've built that up, haven't you? Like you say, it's trust and support. But it is also knowing and recognizing that you can't do it all on your own. Some people try, and it doesn't always work, does it? But you've learned a lot along the way, and it's lovely that you share it with everybody. And I think coming back to what you've created for your Pure Arts group, you have, like you say, everyone does it a different way. There's different levels. Could you just perhaps briefly just talk us through the different levels that you offer people, the way that you can get involved with your community, your support network?
Absolutely. So Pure is essentially a membership business. So you become part of a community when you join Pure. And you can join it in the very first instance completely for free. So we've got loads of free resources and stuff that you can access. You can just join an audience and listen to a broadcast. We do broadcasting continually throughout the year, and we have series. And if you go onto the website pureartsgroup.co.uk and click on the watch menu icon, that'll give you talks, it'll give you Art 360, which are broadcasts with artists, and it'll give you podcasts. So if you want to just listen while you're doing the hoovering,
they're perfect.
That's always a good one. Or making dinner. So you can watch them or you can listen to them. And we have talks with interesting people interviewed by me.
Fascinating, brilliant.
And they're always there to give a kind of insight into something. We're just about to start season 3 with those. So anyone who would like to listen, you can just register to be in the live audience and you can ask your questions. Or you can listen to them afterwards because they all go up on the website. And you just register for the live audience on the website and then we'll send you a link to join us. So they're great. We've got some really interesting people coming up in season 3. We've got a cruise bereavement counsellor because we've all suffered with loss, haven't we? And so she's going to talk us through the process of grieving, which I think if we understand it, then we can know why we're feeling the way we do. And therefore we know it's normal, it's not scary. We've got an Ayurvedic doctor. We've got Jasmine Hemsley's Ayurvedic doctor, in fact.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, Matthew Ancherry. So really fascinating man. We've got, who else have we got coming up? We've got the people who run the big draw. Yeah, loads of people. Have a look. It's all on there.
Yes.
And so it's all on the website.
Can't they? Yeah, that's brilliant.
And you can listen and you can see whether we're your tribe, because we're there for everyone, but we might not be right for you, so it's whether our voice and the way we work and everything is right for people. So that's the first step, really, is to listen and see whether you think we're your tribe. Then you can join a clubhouse. So there's this new clubhouse app. Have you seen it?
Well, do you know me, I'm not that technologically minded, but I have heard about it. It's one of those things I'm going, not getting involved, but it's around, isn't it? It's around, and you're involved, aren't you?
I was like, this is astonishing. So they've created an app now called Clubhouse, which is all audio, which is exactly what Pure have been doing for 10 years.
For ages, so there you go. You're ahead of the game again, aren't you? So let's focus on your Clubhouses then, not the app.
I thought this was hilarious. So I was like, you've created an app that's doing exactly what we do. So we have clubhouses and we create clubhouses in pockets of where we have artists. So if people join and they don't see a clubhouse that's in their area, it's okay. Join one that's close by, or join just the digital one. And then once we get a pocket of artists in a particular location, we'll create a clubhouse around them. So that's how we do it. So no one ever needs to feel, oh, they're not in my area, because the minute you start gathering artists in an area, then we'll put in a clubhouse.
You have one, brilliant. I love that.
And that has regular face-to-face meetings, workshops, etc. And it is professional, so it's structured in a professional way. There's always a topic, there's always an opportunity to introduce yourself, and there's always a Q&A. But then we also have the social bit, so we make sure they're in lovely places like beautiful hotels and country clubs,
lovely,
where you can go and have lunch and chat. So nice things to do for arty people. So that's for artists, and you can join a clubhouse and then you get all of the programming for free. And you also get the opportunity to exhibit with us, because we have 3 exhibition venues, which artists like. So that's Clubhouse. And then we have our learning programs. So that goes from just the workshops that you get access to in Clubhouse through to the courses, which are all self-directed. So you just buy a course and you do it. And then there's the programs. Now, the programs are really the kind of pinnacle of what we offer, which is all based on our learning over the last 20 years of being in this industry. And you've got foundation, you've got practitioner, and you've got master practitioner. And that really takes you through the journey of an artist. And you can book onto one of those programs. That comes with one-to-one mentoring with me. It has a regular Q&A forum for everyone who's on the learning, and it has a Facebook group where you can ask questions. So so you can access anything from very just, putting your toe in the water and starting to learn if we're your tribe, through to full immersion into the experience. And there's nuances in and around there, because we also run exhibitions and events, obviously, when you can. So we've done wonderful kind of women's evenings, and do you remember the Trailblazers ladies?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yes,
amazing,
we've done those, and we have amazing inspirational women come and talk from all entrepreneurs, from all walks of life.
It's not just artists, is it? It's everybody, which is beautiful. Yeah,
because we all have something relevant to share. But we're not just a women's organisation, we have lots of men too, but that just happened to be a women's event, but we do men's only events as well. And we do massive art fair events, and we've done all sorts of those over the years, and we do live broadcasts with artists. So there's lots and lots of stuff that people can they can go from dipping
whatever level suits them,
through to full immersion. And we don't, and there's no judgment ever from here.
Exactly.
It's a non-judgmental environment. It's whatever works for you and whatever you feel you're ready for.
Exactly. We all do it at our own pace, don't we? Like you've done it your way, we all do it our way, don't we?
So, based on your tendencies.
Yeah, exactly, because everyone's different. And like you've mentioned, and I just want to point out so everyone gets the message, this is not just for artists and sculptors and it's for anybody, because like you say, we're all creative in our own way. So it's for everybody.
Yeah, we all have two sides to the brain, otherwise we'd be walking around like that, wouldn't we? Or with one eye.
No, I have a bit like that.
We all have, but our brain is a muscle. So some people use the left brain muscle more, and some people use the right brain muscle more, but they're both there available to us. It's just which one we're deciding, which muscle we're deciding to flex at any time. If you can get to using both sides of your brain, you're going to maximize your potential.
This is the key, I feel, anyway. And since meeting you, and I know when I first met you, I said, I'm not creative, what's this all about, but I have learned that I'm more creative than I thought I was. So maybe I'm using those muscles a bit differently, reaching more of my full potential. So I really see, that is what you offer everybody. It's actually building personally and professionally, isn't it? And I think that's so valuable. And that, I feel that
we exercise your brain muscle.
Yeah, exactly. It's a holistic approach, isn't it? And I love that about the whole group and the community that you offer. So I feel
holistic is a key word for us.
Yes, because it's
look
covering
after the whole.
Yeah.
So we don't just look after, so we'll do talks on your gut health. We'll do talks on I was just telling you, wasn't I, before we came live, about the fact that the programming will include a nutritionist expert for this year, and it will include a dancer who will help us with our physical movement.
For every angle.
So we cover everything. We don't just cover how to get into an exhibition, or how to apply for an open, or how to price your artwork. Because if you're healthy, the whole of you is healthy, you will be more, you'll have more energy.
This is what we're learning so much, isn't it? That actually it's looking after the whole mind, body, spirit, soul, everything, isn't it? And that makes everything better. And you've learned that, like you shared your personal journey with us. You've learned that yourself. I have too, and it's bringing to the fore every little aspect of us so that we can be the best we can be. And that's what I love about it. It's so brilliant. So that wonderful, like you say, holistic approach. I deal with a lot of clients that are solo entrepreneurs, and it is that they want to be successful in their business, and sometimes they forget that actually it's personal development too. There's blocks and things like that, and I know that you've got lots of skills yourself to help people with that.
Self-care is so important.
It's so, isn't it? Self-care is so much, and learning how to do that and feeling your worth and your value is very important. Your NLP practice, does that help massively, do you think, with that side of things? How does that help you with how you help your members?
I think that is an amazing, powerful tool, NLP. And it just gives you a gap. It creates gaps of opportunity, NLP. So it's not always evident immediately how it's caused change. Sometimes it is. Sometimes people go, whoa, and they'll burst into tears because they've had a breakthrough. But often that doesn't happen in front of you as the NLP practitioner. That often happens 2 or 3 weeks later, because it's all done in the brain and in the brain muscles. So it's giving direction to your brain that you want something different.
Yeah.
So NLP helps you directs you in talking to your own self. And so it takes you through processes that have all been completely researched and checked and tested. So it's not unresearched processes. They're all academically verified processes. It walks you through those. So I'll read from a script, what they are, although most of the time now I know them quite well, so I don't have to read from a script, and I can pick out elements of them sometimes and just use an element of them, but you have to have been doing it a while to be able to do that. So you read from a script essentially, that have all been properly validated and checked and researched and verified. And all it does is it's playing with those muscles, and it's showing your brain, it's giving your brain signals of intention. I want change in this area. Because, they say our brain, we're only born with half our brain kind of formed. The rest of our brain grows as we going up to the age
sort
of
ignite
7.
It as we grow, don't we? We build it up, don't we?
So it carries on growing, because if your brain was fully formed when you were born, the gestation period for a human would be something like 42 months apparently. Now no one's doing that. There'd be no humanity, would there? There'd be none of us here. So your brain grows, and so that's why they call it the formative years, between birth and up to, your late teens, early 20s is a massive informative period. That is basically filling your brain filing cabinet with loads of resources. That's why you get your education then and everything. You're putting all these resources. What we forget is loads of stuff happens as well in that time, in your life, so it's about, what happens in your emotional well-being as well. And sometimes we forget that that's also going into the filing cabinet, just like not what we learned at school, but what we learned at school in the break, and what we learned at school in lunchtime, and what we learned at school when that teacher told us that we were rubbish and we needed to get out of their class. So your brain doesn't just file all the good stuff, it also files all of that. And then as an adult, we work on all that. That's our resource bank, and we work on all those memories. So we come up to a situation, and if we haven't given our brain clear direction of what we want, it goes, oh, hang on a minute. And it goes into the filing cabinet, it goes, oh, this looks like it might be useful. And it just randomly picks something out, an old memory or an old experience. It goes, oh, I think this is what's happening now. And that is what creates all those blocks and limiting beliefs and emotional responses that we don't understand, why we feel anxious. And we're like, why do I feel anxious now? This is ridiculous. So NLP lets us go back into that filing bank and file some of that in a locked box. Or go, no, that's not a resourceful memory for me right now. That's not helping me get where I want. And so it gives you the tools to be able to file some of that.
Brilliant.
It gives you the tools to go, oh, thank you, but I don't want to return that to be at the top of my filing cabinet. That I still need it down there to remind me, to keep me safe. Maybe some of I've always been rubbish at filing, Nadine. Maybe that's why I take risks. Maybe my filing cabinet, maybe
You're on top of the filing cabinet.
Maybe I've lost the key to the filing cabinet.
You threw it away.
But it's there, and that's what we're all of what we behave like in adulthood. We have to take control of the filing cabinet.
I like that.
And that's what NLP. That's what NLP helps you do. It helps you choose the bits in the filing cabinet that you want, and the bits you want to lock away.
The bits. Perfect. I love that. So correct me if I'm wrong. NLP stands for Neural Linguistic Programming. Is that right?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Right. That's good. And if anyone wants to find out more about it, that's a beautiful explanation, and it's wonderful how you work that into what you offer all your members. But if anyone wants to find a bit more, they can look that up, can't they? But
I love it. It's fascinating, and the people who invented it are because it came out of academia, are fascinating. It's well worth having a good old research and have a look at it. There's lots of learning theories out there. This is a kind of learning theory, I suppose, one of them. Integral theory is another one, which kind of looks at everything. That's in the spiritual space as well. So there's lots of theories if you start digging.
Yeah, if you start looking. I just thought people are not sure. We're talking about it because we both understand it, but actually, just if anyone wants to look, they can do, can't you? But it's something you put as part of your programs and everything. So
it's integrated into all of our into all of the programs and courses. We integrate NLP practice.
Brilliant. No, I love it. I love it. And from the artistic point of view and the creativity that the people that your members, all of your community, do you think that this, I mean, there's a lot of people talking about mindfulness practice and creating and crafting and that kind of thing. Do you think the artistic process is in itself mindfulness? Do you think there has a place for actually helping us maybe relax, focus?
You walk straight back, straight into it, don't you, Nadine? You know that I am fascinated by why is creativity therapeutic.
Yes, yeah.
And that, I think, will be the underpinning of the PhD when I do get to it. When I do get to it.
But we know it is, don't we? We know it is.
It is, and it's about what parts of your brain you're using, I think. And I think it's about ritual.
Yes, there's a bit of that in it, isn't there?
It's it can be repetitive, it's quiet, or it can be noisy.
Yes. Yeah.
You can do it alone or in a group. You know, there's lots of elements of it that are really interesting, and I think, you know, lots of research still required, but definitely within the ritualistic elements of creativity, it is mindful.
Yes, and I think that's the thing. People are refinding that, aren't they? Maybe I mean, I think about it, and I think about I quite like the mindfulness colouring in that is quite popular at the moment, and it took me back to my childhood, took me back to my nursery school teaching years as well, when I used to like colouring in. Don't think children are allowed to do it now. They have to create their own spaces and shapes and things, but that very, very simple, just focusing on something, and then actually at the end of it having something to show for it, for me, gave me peace and gave me that sense of creating in a very, very small way.
I think if you spoke to an artist, they find the process can be quite painful, but they're doing it for a different reason. You see,
it's taken it to another level, isn't it? There's a different,
so
I'm talking about
creativity. Creativity in its very essence. Is mindful because it takes you out of yourself.
Yes, and this is where I feel it's got benefits in that way. And I think, like you say, if it touches on painful process and everything, again, it's what you provide for your members, isn't it? That yes, we will reach some painful things. It will be a process. It will be something you need to go through, but it's worth it, and you can help people and support people through that, can't you?
But
it has lots of value, doesn't it?
Being a creative as your profession is a different thing to using creativity in a mindfulness process. So they're two quite different things. And I think people who first access creativity for mindfulness will see it. It's very grounding. It releases you from the everyday, and it takes you into your other.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
It takes you into your other. So you can be other at that time, and that's a really important thing sometimes, to just step away from yourself. Grounding is important, but sometimes just giving some space and disassociating is what we call it. So when you're associated with yourself, you're looking at it in the first person through your own eyes. The pain is real, and you can become literally consumed by it. I was trying to come up with the right word. The pain can consume you.
Yes.
Creativity allows you to disassociate from yourself and look at yourself objectively.
Yes.
As like an observer. As an observer. And just like, it gives a gap, and it gives space for you to kind of come to terms with stuff, maybe understand stuff a bit more about what you're experiencing, and then jump back into yourself and bring that learning back in with you. So I think that's why creativity as a mindful practice to help you disassociate and take yourself out of the anxiety and overwhelm is really good. Creativity in a professional practice can consume you.
Mm.
And therefore you can become too consumed by it. And
Yeah.
what we do is help the artist disassociate so they can be objective and get back into their flow. So all the time, creativity used as a vehicle to help you be objective and disassociate for periods, so you can be more objective and get things back into perspective.
Yeah.
Is an amazing vehicle. But it's
with,
a different route.
Yeah.
It's a different.
Perfect.
Creatives, creatives who are in a professional practice need support with that.
That's what I'm getting from what you're saying, to actually understand that, not sitting in that pain without a way out, if you like, and seeing it as a process, because it's valuable, isn't it? So I love that explanation. Thank you for that. It really helps us understand.
Hopefully that helps. Yeah,
it does help us understand, because I think there is that, it's got very common, hasn't it, to do creativity as a mindfulness practice. And like you say, there's more to it than that. It can help on one level, but it can be a different level completely. So to understand that, I think, is really valuable. So thank you for sharing that insight with us, because it is important. I mean, I really feel, I know you quite well, and I know you've explained on this, and people will have got to know you as well through what you've said, but you're so dynamic, you're so go-getting, you're so forward-thinking, and do things in a way brave and vibrant and everything. But I also know you do practice self-care massively, and take your moments, take your breaks and everything. How do you think that helps? Because I know a lot of people are a bit frightened of taking breaks and taking time away, feeling that they'll lose their momentum, feeling that they will maybe be a bit too chilled to be productive. Can you perhaps explain to people how you use it, and how, I mean, I know for a fact it doesn't make you less productive, but how you can actually go, this helps me, maybe relax and reset a little bit, and then power forward a bit more, just so people understand that we can embrace some quiet time as well and still be dynamic. I would
say that I wouldn't be productive at all if I didn't take self-care seriously. And actually, do you know what? It's respectful to everyone who cares about you and the community that pay me to be who I am. I don't have a choice now.
Brilliant.
I've created something there that people now have an expectation of being there to look after them. How disrespectful would I be to those people if I just chucked myself off all the time and burnt out and couldn't be there to kind of like, don't get me wrong, I have a team of people, as you know, doing stuff, but I have no doubt I am the guiding, I'm guiding the ship.
Totally.
And it would be so disrespectful of me not to take that seriously. And so therefore I have to embed self-care into so I'm not ill. And I have been ill episodically over that period, still learning, still understanding that I'm not invincible. And I felt very disappointed in myself for that, because I've let people down, and other members of my team have had to really step up, and they've been upset and they've been anxious for me. That's unacceptable. That's an unacceptable way to behave if you're an ethical leader, effectively, to put other people in pain knowingly. So that's like being on my train. You're on my train as an attendant, and I knowingly open the door and hang you out of it. That's not ethical. That's not a way to behave. So I have to think about all of the people in my community, all the attendants, all the visitors, all the passengers on my train. And therefore I owe it to them to stay well and healthy. And I now know that I can't be going 100 hours a day when there's only 24. 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I will be ill, and that's not fair. So it's not fair to my family, and it's not fair to the other people in the community. So I've had to work at my own self-care regime, and everybody has to do that. My self-care regime is holistic, so it includes spirituality. That's important to me. And as you know, you are my Reiki practitioner, so I come to you regularly for Reiki, and that is, I couldn't put into words, really, and I'm not often lost for words, but I can't articulate how, if I didn't have access to that, how negative that would be on me. That would be tremendously negative. But I also put in breaks. And now this is what everybody has to do it their own way. Some people, they take a weekend. What's a weekend there for? That came about as the Industrial Revolution, when we realized that workers needed to have rest time in order to be productive in the factories. Some people take weekends. Some people go, I can only work 4 days a week. Some people say I can only do 30 hours. That's all unique to you. You have to kind of work out your system yourself. For me, I work in batches. So I'm a project manager in my brain. So I work in projects. So I do a project from January to May. Then I'll take a break in the summer. So I'll work a bit June and a bit of July, but I will not work at all in August.
Yeah.
I take a full month of completely walking away from everything. And all my clients know, and they don't panic anymore. So I schedule everyone up to the end of July, and then they all start again in September, and they're all fine. And no one tips off the edge. So they all know I do this. I have a full month off in August. And then I work from September through to the beginning of December. And then I take 2 weeks in December and 2 weeks in January. So I have 2 full months off a year. And I have the complete period off, no private clients.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I'll answer the odd email. Friends, team members, if there's a crisis, I haven't dropped off the end of the world, I'll answer the phone. But I don't have any one-to-one clients.
Yeah.
And I don't deliver any workshops or any Q&As or do any lives or do any of that stuff that's really draining in that time. But I will obviously answer emails and be accessible to people. But that's how it works for me. And I found that over a period of 10 years that is the best process for me. Wouldn't work for everyone, but that works for me. What I did find this time, interestingly, after just coming back after that Christmas break, is that I was really low. My energy was really low as I started to come into, I've got a couple more days and then I'm going to be back full on. And I felt really depleted and really low and quite anxious about the whole thing. Now, I haven't felt that before. And I think it had a lot to do with the whole grieving process of lockdown and missing out on my normal Christmas. My daughter couldn't come home. So I haven't seen my daughter since like July, August time. And she couldn't come home. And I think I was grieving a little bit for that, for the loss of that. So I connected with my friend Mary, who is a cruise bereavement counsellor. I had a chat with her about it. And she talked me through that. And we're going to have a chat with her, as I said, because it was so beneficial to me to just understand that was normal. And I didn't need to change my whole way of living. Phew, I didn't have to crash the train and take it off the rails. I could.
Don't do that again.
No, I could just go, hang on a minute, something different is happening here. Why is that? And I was resourcing, I was getting some unuseful resources from my filing cabinet that decided to find the key and unlock it for a bit. And I was like, no, this isn't helpful. So I was like aware that I was getting given unresourceful support from my brain. So I was like, who can I turn to? So I turned to my friend Mary, and she chatted to me, and it was really helpful. And I'm not sure if she even appreciates how helpful it was, but it was Mary. It was really helpful. And I just got back I just started working a day earlier. And after I'd done 2 or 3 one-to-one calls, I got my mojo back. And I was like, okay, I needed the energy of people. And because my Christmas hadn't been how it normally is, normally we go away, we'll go somewhere in, like the year before we'd gone to LA, as you know, we'd had a lovely time. I'd recharged my family battery. I think that's what hadn't happened. And so I needed the spark plugs needed cleaning, and I just needed my battery jump starting. So I just got back on the train a bit quicker. And I had I booked in a couple of private clients. I had 2 sessions literally in one day, and I was back on. I was like, oh, that's what I needed. I just needed that energy back in. So it's listening to your body.
It really is, isn't it? And giving yourself what you need, whether
and
you
reaching
understand it or
out.
not. I think
Reach
that's
out
key, isn't it?
ask.
To know, to go, actually, I'm struggling a bit here. There is always someone to help you. It's asking, isn't it? And that's not easy for
Mm.
some people. But I love the way
No.
that you said that about recognizing that you need a break for your people around you because it's disrespectful. I love that term.
Mm.
And I think that will help a lot of people that struggle with self-care because of the guilt that comes in. If you look at it like you've just described it, you're actually, then it's your duty, if you like, to
It's your
take
duty.
self-care. Yep. So you're looking after everyone that is looking to you. I think that will help a lot of people actually see self-care in a different way.
We use this as part of the mindset for artists pricing their work as well.
Yeah.
Because it's disrespectful to all the people who have ever bought your work if you suddenly start discounting it.
Yeah.
You're taking a decision that's out of their control to devalue their investment in you.
Yes.
Well, they may not want you to do that. So you have it before you ever discount. Never discount, please. But if you're ever in that situation where you're thinking about it, think about how you'd feel. If you went to a shop and you bought something and you paid £1,000 for it, and then 3 weeks later you saw the same item available for £200, you'd be, I'm never going there again. I want my money back. I thought I was buying this, but actually you missold me. So it's mis-selling.
I think that's, again, it's a lovely way to put it in perspective, isn't it? Because if people are, like you say, your community, your Pure Arts group, they look to you for your value. It's your duty then to make sure you are top notch, isn't it? So self-care comes into that massively, doesn't it?
I've got to be the best I can be. I hate that. I hate that expression. I'm living my best life, because I'm not. I'm being the best I can be right now. Today.
Exactly, which is all we can do.
Right now, today.
Exactly.
I'm being the best I can be.
Yeah. And I love the fact as well that you said you recognise, I wasn't feeling quite the same. I'd had my break. I'd had my usual self-care. Sometimes it's a little bit different. This year especially, well, last year just finished. It's a different world we're living in, isn't it? So going, actually, what normally works, there's something a little bit different, and recognising what it is. And again, asking for that help and getting it, because it is there for you if we ask, isn't it? So I love that.
And it just shows us that we're all real.
Exactly, we're all real. Yeah, we're all real. And all.
No one's broken.
Yeah.
But no one's perfect either.
Yeah, which is fine.
We're all just real.
We're in that reality. So I love it. Thank you so much for everything that you've shared. We are obviously, can you just remind everyone how they can get in touch with you and find out more about all of your community and support?
Pure Arts Group is on all the normal social media platforms. So Instagram and Facebook, you can DM us, and Sophie runs our social media, but she'll if it's a private message, she'll send it on to me. So you can private message, say this is a message for Lesley if you want to speak to me directly. You can email me, which is probably the better way, at leslie@pureartsgroup.co.uk. Go on the website. There's loads of free resources. If you join up as a member, there's even more. There's a members area with even more free resources. You get loads of discounts as well if you sign up as a member. So you get lots of stuff for free effectively. So yeah, you can go onto the platform there. I'm on Clubhouse as Lesley Sam, so follow me on Clubhouse. I'm doing a regular session with Louise from Crowdcast. We're running a club for people who want to do events. So anyone who's got any questions about on and offline events, then it's going to be a regular thing on a Tuesday. People can come and see us on there and ask their questions. And sign up and watch the talks.
Yes, definitely. And that's a good place to start, isn't it?
Yeah, that's on the homepage. So they start on the 2nd of February. I don't know when your podcasts and broadcasts are going to go live.
Exactly. They're every, is it Tuesdays?
Every Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So whenever whoever's watching, listening, hears this, just hop onto the website and click on the watch, and you'll see whatever's coming up. And you can, there's a button there that says join. Yeah. You can just click in and you'll arrive in Crowdcast that way.
That is brilliant. Lovely. Yeah. So it has been beautiful. I'd just like to finish with some words of wisdom from you. We've had so much from you, thank you, but it's nice to finish maybe with a little phrase that people can take with them, or a little word or something that you can share that you'd like for people to remember and for people to help when they need
a kind of a positive affirmation, because we live
something like
we live by our positive affirmations and rituals and our gratitude every day. But I would say I've said this quite frequently as we've been talking.
I think
you're doing the best you can right now, and what you're doing
Exactly.
is not completely normal. You are, you're in the right place. You are exactly where you're meant to be right now.
Perfect.
If it feels a little bit uncomfortable, look around.
Yeah.
Look around and notice what you notice, because you're meant to be seeing something.
Yeah.
And we all
Perfect.
live in these bubbles. And so our vision and our brain is trained just to look in this like little bubble here. Look over there.
Yeah.
Turn off all your social media. Turn off all the noise. Go and sit outside and just notice what you notice.
Yeah. Love it. I love it.
Because you are exactly where you're meant to be right
perfect.
now.
I love that. And I think people will take a lot of faith and comfort from that, because sometimes we're not sure, are we? So that is lovely.
No.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this chat with you. I
So
always love
did I.
chatting to you. So thank you very much, Lesley. It's been a joy.
I really, really loved it. Thank you, Nadine. And I'm very grateful for you being involved with Pure and all that you contribute to our community and to our platform, because you bring an amazing light energy.
Oh, thank you so much.
That is definitely everyone who comes on Pure. There's a whole thing on meditation, and that's all myself and Nadine doing guided meditations, which we will do more of as we go on.
Beautiful.
And they are just beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I love
thank you so much.
I love being involved, as you know. So thank you. It's been a joy.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right. I'll speak to you soon.
We will.